Upon speaking with Sandra, she advised that when she returned home earlier in the morning, she noticed that the front door was locked. Sandra advised she used her key to unlock the door and enter into the home. Sandra advised that upon entering the home, she did not see Bruce in the living room. Sandra advised that she figured Bruce may be asleep since they had returned home from Amarillo, Texas very late the previous night. Sandra advised that when she was heading into the bedroom, she could hear noises coming from the bathroom. That's never a good, unless it's like poop noises. You don't want to hear noises coming from the bathroom. Sandra advised that she could hear Bruce listening to some prawn, P-O-R-N, prawn. We'll say prawn. She could hear him listening to some prawn because of the noises. Sandra advised when she walked towards the bathroom, the door was open and she saw Bruce sitting on the toilet having S3X with one of his dogs.
Brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
The DerekEvanReleford Show on Bedroom Radio.
All right, everybody. Lots been going on this last couple of weeks, and people typically send me things. I'm not somebody who does a lot of digging.
I don't believe you.
Recently, about 3 months ago, when I moved back to Elkhart, a lot of people were telling me that there was like this rogue cop here and he had like a horrible record. And he was just the things that they said about this cop made me believe that maybe he was a monster. So I spent like $150 of my own money I went to a website. It's called Fiverr, and you can pretty much find anybody on there. They use every database known to man, people that are way smarter than me. I paid $150 to learn, who this guy is. Long story short, nothing. Clean as a whistle, nothing. And this goes way deeper than just like a basic background search. Like the officer had nothing on their record, and therefore I'm not going to do a story about somebody that has nothing on their record. Maybe you just don't like them because they pulled you over or something. I'm not sure. But sometimes people send me stuff and it really blows my mind. With the case going on in Texas County, I feel like in the last couple of weeks, it's really gotten blown out of proportion in the sense where there's been a lot of bickering and arguing with people, myself included, who have nothing to do with the case. And I could see how family members and people who love these people would feel like, they're getting caught in the crosshairs of a fight that has nothing to do with them. And so I agree. So this week I wanted to go a little different route. Somebody sent me this. This isn't something I looked for. It's just something that was sent to me, and I'm going to go ahead and go over it with you. It's a nine-page affidavit. The District Court of Texas County, State of Oklahoma, versus a guy named Bruce. I'm not going to dox this guy. I'm not going to say his last name. This was filed on August 21st, 2024. This is a very, very new case. And how affidavits work, basically, if it's public, you're able to go to the courthouse in all of those situations. You just basically purchase them. They're very cheap. This is a 9-page affidavit. This probably costs my source, I'm guessing, anywhere from $3 to $5. I'm just going to read it to you. And I don't know exactly what is in this. My wife read it and she was very appalled. And she's actually not sure if I should cover it, but I feel like this takes a little bit of eyes and stuff off of what's going on in this other case. As far as that other case goes, I firmly believe that everybody involved is doing the best they can. I feel like they're in over their head where they have 5 defendants that they're trying to try, a lot going on. So here's some other stuff going on in the Texas County Courthouse. It says, let me skip past the basic stuff. It says on August 14th, 2024, at approximately 1116 hours, 1116 hours, I, investigator Berta, I'm going to try not to say any last names, met with Sandra at the Texas County Sheriff's Office. Sandra wanted to speak to me about a domestic that had occurred between her and her boyfriend, Bruce. Sandra is also advised that she wanted to report Bruce because she had witnessed him having S3X with one of his Why, dude? Why, Bruce? Why, dude? The incidents occurred at Southwest 7th Street in Optima, Texas County, Oklahoma. Upon speaking with Sandra, she advised that when she returned home earlier in the morning, she noticed that the front door was locked. Sandra advised she used her key to unlock the door and enter into the home. Sandra advised that upon entering the home, she did not see Bruce in the living room. Sandra advised that she figured Bruce may be asleep since they had returned home from Amarillo, Texas very late the previous night. Sandra advised that when she was heading into the bedroom, she could hear noises coming from the bathroom. That's never a good, unless it's like poop noises. You don't want to hear noises coming from the bathroom. Sandra advised that she could hear Bruce listening to some PORN. Sandra advised when she walked towards the bathroom, the door was open and she saw Bruce sitting on the toilet having SEX with one of his dogs.
Where did you learn how to do that, buddy?
Sandra advised that she screamed at Bruce, which is probably what you should do if you find your boyfriend sleeping with his dog. Asked him what he was doing. Sandra advised that Bruce immediately pushed the dog away from him and got up from the toilet. Sandra advised that he heard the dog yelp when Bruce took his thingy out of the dog. I feel sorry for whoever had to type this shit up. Sandra advised that Bruce was completely naked and began to wipe his part with his clothes that were on the floor. Sandra advised that Bruce started to yell at her, asking why she was home already. Sandra advised that Bruce had his thing covered up with his clothes and went to grab his phone. Sandra advised that Bruce threw the phone on the ground and told her to break the phone. Sandra advised that she picked up the phone, put it in her front shirt pocket, and told him that she was not going to break the phone. Sandra advised that she started to leave when Bruce grabbed her by the arm and threw her to the ground. Sandra advised when she fell, she landed on her knees. Sandra advised that she asked Bruce why he was having SEX with one of his dogs. And she advised that Bruce began to curse at her and tell her that her dogs were his and he can do whatever he wants with them.
Brother, ugh.
Sandra advised that she got up from the floor and ran towards the front door, yelling that he was abusive. Sandra advised that she ran outside, got in her car, and came straight to the sheriff's office to report what she had witnessed Bruce doing. This is, I believe, the investigator speaking. I asked Sandra if she could show me her arms and knees. Sandra was wearing a black short-sleeve shirt with front pockets and black pants. I did not observe any injuries on her arms or knees. I asked Sandra if Bruce had ever tried to hit her before, and she advised that he is very abusive. I hate this guy. Sandra advised that Bruce has choked her and grabbed her arms on several other occasions. Sandra advised that Bruce is very controlling and makes her have SEX with him. Bruce will tell her that she is his and he can do whatever he wants with her. Same idea with his dogs, I guess. Sandra advised that she is very scared for her life, especially now more than ever because she saw Bruce doing this with his dog. I asked Sandra if there were any more dogs in the home. She advised that Bruce has 3 dogs, 2 German Shepherds, and she was not sure what breed the smaller dog was. Sandra advised that Bruce had the 2 German Shepherd dogs in the bathroom with him when she walked in on him. I asked Sandra if she could tell me which dog Bruce was having SEX with, and she advised me the brown German Shepherd. Sandra advised that all 3 dogs are female. Sandra believes she believes that he has sex with all 3 dogs because every time she is around the dogs, they stay with her. Sandra advised that she has observed the dogs to act in a scared manner with Bruce. Sandra advised that she has asked Bruce before if his dogs had been licking his private area before because she had noticed that the dogs are constantly smelling around his area. Sandra advised Bruce told her hell no and denied ever do anything sexual with the dogs. Sandra advised that there were several cameras in the home. I asked Sandra if she could tell me where the cameras are around the home, and she advised there's a camera facing the front door, one in the closet in the bedroom, and one in the kitchen. She believes there was one somewhere outside the home as well. Sandra advised that Bruce has access to the cameras on his phone. Sandra advised that she could show me the prawn Bruce was watching, and she could also show me the video of her screaming at him and running out of the house. Sandra pulled the phone out of her purse and showed me the videos. I observed Sandra very distraught on camera, yelling that Bruce is abusive. I observed Sandra run to her car. The video stopped after she went towards her vehicle. I asked Sandra if the camera was motion censored, and she advised they were. I advised Sandra that I need to ask her some questions from the domestic violence lethality screen first responders form. Sandra agreed to answer my questions. Sandra did screen in based on my belief that she is in an abusive relationship with Bruce. I contacted the Northwest Domestic Crisis Center and advised them of the situation. I was advised that they would send an advocate to the sheriff's office to meet with Sandra. I asked Sandra when was the last time she had SEX with Bruce. Sandra advised 2 days ago. I asked Sandra if she could describe their sexual relationship, and she advised that most of the time she was forced to have SEX with Bruce. Sandra advised that Bruce was very aggressive, sometimes holding her down and choking her. Sandra advised that it was rare for her to enjoy having SEX with Bruce because he was so aggressive. I asked Sandra if Bruce had access to any firearms. Sandra advised that Bruce has several guns. I asked Sandra where Bruce keeps his firearms, and she advised that Bruce has 2 gun safes. Sandra advised that the safes are in the closet and that Bruce has a camera facing the safes. Sandra advised that she asked Bruce if he has a license to have firearms, and Bruce told her he doesn't have a license for his guns. Sandra was not sure of how many firearms Bruce has in his safe, but she believes there is more than 10. Sandra was very emotionally distraught throughout the interview. Sandra would cry and advised that she is very sick to her stomach and mind. Sandra advised that she feels so sick, especially now, because Bruce had forced her to do oral sex on him, and his area has been inside of dogs. Why does that sentence exist, Bruce? Sandra advised that she is unsure if Bruce was having SEX through the dogs, which she doesn't know which option he took, I guess is the best way to say that.
Look at them, they're so in love. I bet the French kiss all that long. I wish we knew which hole he's gonna poke her through.
I met with Sinead, who was an advocate of the Northwest Domestic Crisis Center. I advised Sinead about the situation with Sandra. Sinead advised that she would help Sandra with obtaining a protective order. I asked Sandra if she was willing to write a statement for the purpose of the report, and she advised that she would. I obtained the statement forms and advised her that I would be in contact with her if I had any more questions. I gave Sandra copies of her statement from and the domestic violence lethality sheet for her protective order. For the protective order, Sandra left the sheriff's office with Sunaid to obtain a protective order. I might be saying that wrong. It's S-U-N-A-E-D. Sunaid, I guess. On August 14th, 2024, investigator Berta, obtained a search warrant on Bruce's residence at Southwest 7th Optimal in Texas County, Oklahoma. Deputy Marco, Deputy Seth, and myself went to Batterson's residence to serve the search warrant. Upon our arrival, I spoke with Bruce and told him I had a warrant to search his home for evidence. I advised Bruce that he is under investigative custody while I conduct the search of the residency. Deputy Bartles placed handcuffs on Bruce, checked for tightness, and double locked for safety. Bruce was then placed in my patrol car. Guyman Animal Control arrived on the scene and took all 3 dogs to their facility. I began to take photographs of the home and collect evidence. Bruce was extremely agitated and was upset that Animal Control was taking his dogs. He loves them. I advised that I would be taking him to the district attorney task force building to interview him. I served Bruce with a copy of a protective order that Sandra had filed earlier in the day. I advised Bruce that Sandra will be at the residence to pick her stuff up. I photographed and left a copy of the search warrant and an evidence log on the coffee table located in the living room. Sandra arrived at the residence with Northwest Domestic Crisis Advocate Sunaid to collect her belongings. After I photographed and collected evidence, I advised Deputy Crawford and Deputy Bartles that I would be transporting Bruce to the task force for an interview. I invited Crawford and Bartles to stay at the scene until Sandra and Animal Control left the scene. I advised dispatch that I was en route to the task force with Bruce. I arrived at the task force building in Guyman and met with Lieutenant Investigator Andy. Lieutenant Walters escorted Bruce into the interview room and removed the handcuffs. I advised Bruce that I would be in the room shortly to talk with him about the incident that had occurred between him and Sandra. I read Bruce his Miranda rights and warnings and asked if he was willing to speak with me. Bruce signed the form and agreed to speak with me. I asked Bruce if he could tell me about the incident that occurred with Sandra. He advised that he was laying on his bed when he heard a knock at the front door. Bruce advised that he got up, went to the bathroom window to see who was at the door. When Sandra appeared behind him and knocked his phone out of his hand, Bruce advised that there was a girl on his cell phone, and Sandra was upset. I asked Bruce what he meant by Sandra seeing a girl on his phone, as if it was a picture or a video of a girl, and he advised that he was watching a video on his phone, and Sandra became jealous and upset about it. Bruce advised that Sandra picked up his phone off the floor, looked at it again, and became very upset and threw the phone on the ground again. Bruce advised that if he had asked her if she was trying to break his phone and he tried to grab the phone off the floor. Bruce advised that Sandra picked up the phone and put it in her shirt pocket and ran out the door. Bruce advised that he had not spoken to her since she left. I asked Bruce if he had grabbed her or anything during the argument. He advised me that he grabbed her to keep her from taking his phone. Bruce advised that he grabbed her arms and wrapped his arms around her. Bruce advised that he let her go when she started to swipe at him. I asked Bruce if he had pushed her to the ground at any time, and he advised that he did not. Bruce advised me that he did grab her arms, but that he ended up wrapping his arms around her like he was hugging her, but then let her go. Bruce advised that she is emotional and gets angry all the time. Bruce advised that she is only at the house for a few minutes. Bruce advises that he has stayed at his house all day waiting for her to come back with his phone. I advised Bruce that Sandra was very distraught and crying when she came to my office to tell me what happened. I advised Bruce that Sandra had said that he grabbed her arms and threw her to the ground. I asked Bruce why Sandra would say that, and he advised that she was lying and he did not throw her to the ground. I advised Bruce that I asked Sandra why the argument began, and she told me that she walked in on him having sex with one of his dogs in the bathroom. Bruce denied that happening. Bruce advised that they argued because of the video he was watching on his phone. Bruce advised that he was naked and just laying in bed watching a website when he heard someone at his door. Bruce advised that Sandra had accused him before of doing sexual things with the dogs. Why would she go there, bro? I asked Bruce if he could tell me more about that. He advised me that Sandra noticed the dogs are constantly smelling around his crotch area all the time. Bruce advised that Sandra asked him if the dogs ever licked his area, and he had told her no. I advised Bruce that Sandra gave extreme detail on what she witnessed him doing with his dog. I advised Bruce that Sandra advised that she saw him sitting on the toilet with his brown dog between his legs and that he was having sex with the dog while watching Prawn on his phone. Bruce advised that he was not having sex with his dog. I asked Bruce why Sandra would tell me she saw him having sex with the dog, and Bruce advised that Sandra is crazy and very hormonal because she is menopausal. I advised Bruce that Sandra had told me that she saw him wipe his area with his shorts when he was walking out of the bathroom, and he denied wiping himself off. Big mistake, Bruce. Big mistake. I advised Bruce that during the search warrant, I had found a pair of shorts in the hamper that had several stains consistent with blood. Bruce advised that he had sex with Sandra a few days prior and she was on her period. Bruce advised that he had wiped the blood off of himself and threw the shorts in the hamper. I asked Bruce what the results would show when the clothes were examined, and he advised that it would prove he was innocent. I asked Bruce if he was willing to take a polygraph test, and he agreed. Bruce later advised that he would only take a polygraph if Sandra takes one at the same time as him. I observed Bruce to be very agitated and argumentative throughout the interview. I advised Bruce that he was not under arrest at this time and that I would be in contact with him. Bruce asked if he could have his dogs back.
Whoa, Miss Slippy. The part of the story I don't like.
No, Bruce. And I advised him that he could not. You cannot have your dogs back, Bruce. I advised Bruce that this is an ongoing investigation. Deputy Crawford gave Bruce a ride back to his residence in Optimal. On Thursday, August 15th, 2024, I, Investigator Berta, and Lieutenant Andy went to Compassionate Care Veterinary Clinic located in Guyman, Texas County, Oklahoma. Upon our arrival, we spoke to Dr. Christina Mitchell about bringing in the brown German Shepherd for collecting DNA evidence on the dog. When Dr. Mitchell advised that she was not familiar with that type of test, who would be? Why does that exist? That type of testing that Dr. Maria Mondragon did. Dr. Mondragon advised that she would bring the dogs up and she would collect swab samples. I spoke to Amanda with Guyman Animal Control, and she asked if she could bring the dog to the clinic. Amanda advised that she would send one of her officers to the clinic with the dog. Once the dog was brought into the clinic, Dr. Mondragon began swabbing the dog. Dr. Mondragon advised that she would need to give the dog an anesthetic to calm her down to be able to further test the two areas. Jesus. I was present in the room while Dr. Mondragon continued checking the area. Jesus. Dr. Mondragon advised that there was visible tearing inside of the. I obtained photographs of the tear. Dr. Mondragon also advised that there was a clump of fur around the area. Dr. Mondragon swabbed and collected the fur samples. Dr. Mondragon advised that the tear in the is consistent with something going in the and not caused by constipation or excessive diarrhea. Dr. Mondragon used an alternative light source, black light, to have a closer look around the areas. Dr. Mondragon took a sample of the clump fur and illuminated under the light source. Dr. Mondragon advised that the clumps of fur were from an unknown fluid. I collected the swab and the fur samples and advised Dr. Mondragon that I would be back in contact with her if I needed any more information. Animal Control took the dog back to the shelter without incident. Lieutenant Andy contacted the Oklahoma Bureau of Investigation and spoke with the crime lab. Walters was advised that they would need a known DNA sample of Bruce and Sandra to compare the fluid found on the canine and in the shorts that was collected from Bruce's residence. This is awful. This is disgusting and yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. Again, all people are innocent until proven guilty in this country. But yikes.